Well, Sam, it was just Mother's Day, and I know you were spending time with your family. I was spending time with mine. Uh, but our First Lady, Melania Trump, had a couple big Mother's Day splashes, I guess, that she made. Um, she wrote a very interesting op-ed for Jeff Bezos's Washington Post editorial page, where basically she was telling us that we have to just say no to feminism, and we've got to put our families first above careers. Women can't have it all. She wants to make trad wives great again. And it was largely ridiculed, and frankly, I don't know how many people really read the Washington Post editorial page at this point, because I mean, when you're editorializing things like, hey, it was cool that we killed off USAID, that literally has resulted in the deaths of millions of poor children around the globe. I mean, it's very difficult to take that seriously. So we had that, but then there was also a speech for Mother's Day that she gave that definitely raised some eyebrows. So let's play that.
May you find enduring strength as your loved one serves in defense of our freedom. Most know my husband as the strong commander-in-chief, but his empathy transcends the role and shape a caring leader who constantly remembers each and every American soldier is someone's child. Distinguished guests.
So I think we have to point out the fact that most of these press conferences at the White House are just filled with sycophants and just canned laughter all over the place, but in the right places, not like this, where even Trump's biggest fans thought it was hilarious, the idea that this man would have empathy. So that was quite a moment to witness.
That was, look, I think so many of these moments embody the entire experiment. And, a candidate like Vivek Ramaswamy also is just so out of touch, in the same way that Trump is out of touch, in the same way that Melania is very out of touch. Like, my wife would never deign to get mothering advice or parenting advice or job advice or any kind of advice from Melania Trump, because they just are not the same. And I think it is one of those things that's, Trump he says the economy is great. It's not, right? He says gas prices are going down, or they're great. Jobs are firing back. None of that is true. And Melania embodies that sort of like bubble blindness.
Yeah.
Right. You are in your own ass and you cannot see the light outside of it.
I mean, you have gold toilets. You
were a statue of yourself, for fuck's sake. Come on.
We're not the same, and so when millions of women are struggling out there just to make sure that their kids can afford to go to the doctor, listening to our First Lady just dripping in diamonds, who had a bribe film made about her for Jeff Bezos. I mean, what does she have to tell us about the struggles of parenthood? Come on.
It is. So here's what my question for you is, that kind of stuff is so infuriating, right? Being spoken down to, and there are billionaires who say like, well, maybe I don't pay the tax rate that you pay, but my 2% tax rate is more than you'll make in your lifetime. That's not the brag that, you know what I mean? It's not like, that doesn't make me feel better, right? Like all of these things. Do you think that that's going to have any or add to the electoral impact in November for Democrats? Do you think people are waking up to this bullshit?
If you look at the polls, I mean, it's been a consistent story for months upon months. I know every week we've got Rick Wilson and Andrew Wilson that break it down for you on Behind the Numbers on Friday mornings. And I mean, people are not buying what this president is selling. And I just think that it's so condescending to sit there and say affordability is a hoax when gas just hit $4.55 a gallon. I mean, trying to sell us on this idea that gas prices are going down. Most of us are seeing gas above $5 when we, hit the gas station these days. That's incredibly high.
It is. And I also wonder this, if Trump isn't on the ticket in 28, he's got a sort of smarmy, I don't know, cartoonishness that MAGA loves, right?
Right.
They're like, yeah, he's a billionaire, but he's also a total sleazebag, and that makes it all totally fine. And he knows he's a sleazebag, and we know he's a sleazebag, and it's the joke. And I think that, when people started laughing when Melania said he was known as being empathetic, he was in on that joke too. He was like, oh yeah, totally. That's hilarious because I'm not empathetic
part
at all.
of Trump's charm, and it chokes in my throat to say that, but the man won election twice. People have bought into him, enough, is that he's an asshole. That's the whole thing. So the idea that he gives a shit about anyone besides himself, that's the joke.
That's the joke. But it's not going to be the joke with somebody like JD Vance, right?
No, because he's very unlikable.
Yeah. So when he pretends to be an asshole, everyone's just like,
I don't think
you're an
asshole.
No. When I say pretends, I mean, when he cops to it in the same way that Trump does, it's going to be weird.
He's
he's a weird little man.
It's off-putting, and sadly, it looks to me that Marco Rubio seems to have the routine down a lot better than him. He was yucking it up in the press room last week, and people seem to be responding similarly to when Trump used to go up there, back in the day when he knew where he was.
Yeah, right. I think, that's the thing about Marco is he's been a politician for a very long time. And he, at, a bare minimum, he's a better, I think, retail politician than JD Vance. He can shake hands and he can appear to have a sense of empathy and, and hold a coherent thought and all of those kinds of things. I think it's going to be interesting in 28.